Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Billy Wilder Theater, home of the public programs for the UCLA Film and Television Archive. My name is Paul Malcolm. I'm the senior public programmer for the archive. I want to thank some of the individuals and organizations that have helped to make tonight's screening possible. First, all of the archive screenings in the Wilder are free thanks to a gift from an anonymous donor. We are grateful to them for their support. This series and this screening has been made possible with support from the Yanai Initiative at UCLA for Globalizing Japanese Humanities. I want to thank all the community partners who have worked with us to help spread the word about this series. And finally, I want to acknowledge Kathy Ackers and Kate Park for initiating the conversation about this series back in 2023. So let's have a round of applause for all those folks. Making things happen. And thank you all for coming out to the opening of our closing weekend for our series celebrating the 30th anniversary of Giant Robot Magazine. This series was curated by Giant Robot founder Eric Nakamura, and it's been a real honor for me and a pleasure to work with him. He's here with us tonight. Let's give Eric a round of applause. Eric. Woo. So we've got one more night in this program after tonight. Tomorrow night, filmmaker and actor Daniel Wu will be back here at the Wilder for a 20th anniversary screening of his Hong Kong action thriller One Night in Mongkok. And if you haven't gotten a copy of the book Giant Robot, 30 Years of Defining Asian American Pop Culture, and I highly recommend that you get a copy of it, we'll be doing another book signing here tomorrow at 6 p.m. With Eric, Daniel, and Martin Wong, who's co-editor of Giant Robot. So please come back for that. So turning to tonight, we have a fantastic program. I think a really fun show. We'll be screening Gamera, The Guardian of the Universe, directed by Shusuke Kaneko and released in 1996. Gamera was the feature film debut of Ayako Fujitani, and we are absolutely thrilled that Ayako is here with us tonight in person. Ayako, round of applause for Ayako. Woo! So Ayako would join myself and Eric on stage for a conversation after the film. Please stick around for that. And in the meantime, turn off all your electronic devices and enjoy Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. Thank you so much. In addition to Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, author, actor, director, and screenwriter Ayako Fujitani has starred in numerous films, including Ritual, Daylight Savings, Man from Reno, and the short film Interior Design, directed by Michel Gondry as part of the omnibus film Tokyo. Her television work includes roles in Mozart in the Jungle and The Last Ship. Her novella Tohimu was adapted into the feature film Shikijitsu, directed by Hideki Anno. And most recently, she co-wrote the screenplay and starred in Tokyo Cowboy, directed by Mark Marriott. Please help me welcome to the stage Ayako Fujitani and Giant Robot co-founder Eric Nakamura. Eric, let me start with you. What would you have said before the film by way of introducing Ayako in terms of, like, how did you meet? How did you,
I interviewed Ayako for Giant Robot Magazine in 2008?
I would say around there.
It was for
2008 or 9.
Yeah, it was for the Tokyo Omnibus, and her part was directed by Michel Gondry, and which was really interesting. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's really cool. And so she was here to be, it's doing press, and I got to interview her for that. And then after that, she started writing for Giant Robot, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So had you heard of Giant Robot before Eric reached out to you? And then what was it that interested you about the magazine?
Well, I have been coming to LA back and forth, and then I've been to Giant Robot store, and I have this cute little wallet that I bought and when I went to the store. And so, yes, I knew about the store and magazine, and when I found out that he was going to interview me, I knew I was going to propose. So I said to him, after the interview was finished, I said to him, you know, I write too, so, you know. And he said, okay. Yeah.
So, I know, obviously, Giant Robot, the name of the magazine, comes from Eric growing up and watching, kaiju movies and Giant Robot and Johnny Sacco. I know you were an avid movie watcher when you were growing up in Osaka, but were kaiju films on your diet of movies, or was this something you grew up on?
I was watching any kind of movies, like drama or horror or actions, but kaiju was one of the genre that I wasn't so keen of. But when they called me from Gamera studio. That they asked me if I'm interested in going for audition. I went to the good old video store,
And there's a little backstory to how you got called for that audition, right? You were sort of discovered for this film, weren't you?
well, yes. I'm gonna try to make it short, but yes. So yeah, I was just a regular girl in Osaka, and then this magazine, like a zine, Osaka Zine woman was helping out Osaka Film Festival, and she came to my mom and said, like, Ayako is a fan of Hiroyuki Sanada, right? And I said, sure. And he was, and I was a huge fan. And and they said, oh, we're looking for someone who's going to give him a big bouquet to Hiroyuki Sanada, who is in Shogun. And did she want to do it? And I said yes. So I went, and then I got on stage and I gave him flowers, and then that was it. But I was invited for the what do you call it, reception party for the film festival, but I didn't know anyone, so I was just in the corner standing. But apparently Shusuke Kaneko, director of Gamera, was there. He saw me, and later he wanted to see me for the audition for Gamera. So that's how we got the phone call.
Was it easy to get that role?
In a way, because I sucked so badly in the audition. It was the scene was one of the scene that when the taxi driver breaks off the thing, and then she has to say, just Gamera, run. And just say that one line, simple line, and I couldn't say. I was just too shy. And I'm like, I can't say. And then they called me back and said I got the role.
What?
So it's easy, but it was hard. I don't know.
So what was that experience like? So you got the part, and then you had to go back and watch all of these Gamera movies and monster movies. What was that experience like? And I guess the other thing was, were you not into so my question would be like, you're a kid growing up in Japan. Were these movies at the time you were growing up, were they still cool? Were kids watching them? And were your peers into them? And you were just like, eh? And then what was it like when you finally got into it?
I mean, I was watching, like, every weekend. There was, like, a Gorenja. I don't know if you know any of those. Like, how do you explain?
Sentai?
Yeah, Sentai. Like a 5
Like Power Rangers.
colorful suits people. So I did grow up watching those, and it's part of that genre. And Gamera was definitely one of those cult movie that it was already sort of disappeared, and Godzilla was more mainstream, and then Gamera was only the people who know. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I had to go and rented videos, and then I thought it was really cool. And of course, it's now that it has more value because it's really now the director of this movie, the special effect director, Higuchi Shinji, and then Anno Hideaki, they actually built museum only for that tokusatsu because it is disappearing, because CGI is so great, and the miniatures and all this people getting inside of the suits is just disappearing. So if I think about it now, back then I thought it's just so cool to get to see how it's made in front of my eyes, but now if I look back, I got to be in that movie. It's really cool. Yeah.
And then you did 2 more, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Was that like the plan originally was just to have, you're going to be in 3 movies, or did they just kind of add them?
I'm not sure. I think the story-wise they were going to do 3, but I don't know if they were planning to have my character all 3. And then there is like documentary, very long documentary, only about that debate, and then how the 3rd one was made. It's a good one. Hideaki Anno directed it, and there's debate about having me or not having me. And some crew hating me, and some crew loving me. And
What's wrong with these people?
they're all serious, that's all. And then I became very good friends with the people who didn't want me. So it's okay. It's life.
Well, from the story of the audition, you were obviously not like you weren't training to be an actor. You weren't training to perform. So, but you got the part. So, what was that like when you were on set? Like learning lines, learning to act, like in your first starring role in a feature film. I mean, what was that like?
Everybody was so kind. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I think I had to learn just being on the set and from all those experienced people, and I mean, in a way, it's the best way to learn. But they were kind, so I wasn't traumatized. So it's good, yeah.
I remember, so going back just a little bit, we were kind of like, I think in a way, the questions you asked, the first question anyway, was sort of almost testing. Does she have geek in her, right? That's kind of it, right? Okay. So Ayako once looked at, okay, I'm a geek. I collect Japanese toys, right? From that era, a lot of stuff. And so I guess one story is she saw that toy collection and she was able to name every character, every obscure, weird show. She knew everything. And this is all toys from like the 70s, not from the 60s, 70s, 80s. And it's like older than her for sure. And then sure enough, she was able to name them all. So literally, it was really odd.
Yeah, I have that in me.
So yeah, she's for real.
Never doubted for a second. But so you began your career just sort of looking, forward. You began with this series of 3 genre films, the Gamera movies. But now you're mostly known for like art house, independent film, working with Michel Gondry, some really like experimental directors. Was that a plan? I mean, would you like now once you got into the industry and you felt comfortable doing it, were you like, hey, I mean, did you have a choice between I want to keep doing these genre films or hey, you know what, I want to explore this other thing, this other direction?
I mean, I think I was never planned to do the genre film or anything, but I always loved genre film. But I did feel frustration in the end because back then, even until pretty recently, if you do genre movies as an actor, you're the genre actors. Right. And then, but I guess because of Guillermo del Toro and then because of like recently, finally, all these action stars, like Michelle Yeoh getting that Oscar, all these things, they started to cross over finally, and it's great that it doesn't matter, and that's how it should be, right. Because it's just art. You're creating art, and it shouldn't be you're doing this and that's it. You can't cross over, and you should be able to. But at one point, I was frustrated. And probably that's one of the reasons I wanted to write myself, because people would just look at me as, oh, Gamera girl. Right. And I'm like, well, yes and no, Yeah.
So do you have any questions from the audience? Raise your hand, we'll call on you and we'll bring a microphone to you. Any questions for Ayako or Eric? Let's go right down here in the front. Yeah,
it's right here.
We're mic down for you.
I always wonder, when you're acting in these films, do they show you storyboards or do they show like initial footage of what the monsters will be doing, or is it just all, this is what's happening, just a director telling you how to react?
So yes, you have the whole script, so you know what's going on, but it is hard sometimes to sort of picture what's happening. One of the interesting thing was the technical part of it is, one of the assistant director will be having this long stick with something on the end, and then he'll go like, here's the camera, so that every actor is looking at the same spot, right? So it's not like he's right there and then it's not vague. And then sometimes he has to run from that way to there. So every actor is following the same eye lines. So those are the technical part. But I do remember Shusuke Kaneko, the director, told me genre movies are the more, that kind of movie you need better actors, because if your eyes are not believing what you're seeing, the audience can tell. So the actors has to make the audience believe. So, so if you're just going like, oh, I'm just gonna pretend, and the lie can be shown to your eyes, I guess. And so the director had to work with actors. So, you have to believe in it, truthfully. Yeah.
Oh, a question from the audience right here in the center.
First, I'd like to thank you both. Eric, congratulations for Giant
Thanks.
Robot anniversary. Tanju and Ayako, thank you so much for coming. We
Thank you.
appreciate it. And so what is your next project that you're working on currently?
So I just recently finished a movie called Tokyo Cowboy. I think it's showing on Monday in LA, this coming Monday in film festival. What's it called? I don't know. Sorry. It's been going around everywhere this past month. And then it was showing in an AMC and stuff. So I just kind of finished with that. I co-wrote with my friend Dave Boyle, and I starred in it. And then now the next project I am trying to, I'm just gonna say, I'm trying to direct. So we'll see how it goes. It's always a challenge.
Direct what?
A feature film.
Oh, is it written or did you write it?
It's already written 10 years ago. Let's see.
Wow.
You're on your script? It's your oh, fantastic.
Well, it's free to say anything.
Is it a particular? Well, sure, of course.
It doesn't cost to say it.
So one of the themes of the documentary that we started the series with, and just the whole legacy of Giant Robot, is just how like the presence of Asian and Asian American culture has sort of really I mean, there's still issues, but it's like it's much more into the mainstream. It's it's kind of all around us, and I'm curious, like as someone who was born and raised in Japan, now lives in the States and goes back and forth, and has worked for European directors, for Japanese directors. How do you see like the presence and place of Japanese or Japanese pop culture, and how has that impacted you over the years? You're now a part of the canon, right? The Gamera films have put you like right in the heart of like the center of Japanese pop culture, right?
Yeah, I guess that's just came later, in the sense of I wasn't thinking that that wasn't the plan. Right. I wish there are so many things. Like when I came 2009, and then when I met Eric, and I was actually thinking to do more American films, but back then they were not casting any Asian people for regular TV shows or movies at all. And it was frustrating. And it just, till this day, I still feel like I came a little too early. And then I wasted a lot of time. And then now I'm just too old to be casted in other shows that everybody's casted. But it's okay. It's just, I don't know. It's great that it's like Shogun is doing great and all these things. It's like happening finally. But Japanese industry itself has a lot of challenge right now, and then Hollywood has its own challenge right now. So I think it's just everything is changing throughout the years, and then now that I'm just saying it because I've been in the industry. In the end, it's a pretty long time now. So it's just you never know. So the only thing I can do is just keep trying and see what fits and whatever fits. Yeah.
A question from the audience? I'll turn it back over. Any more questions? Oh, right here. Let's bring the mic down in the center. There we go.
Hello. I just had a question about your collaborations with Hideaki Anno, specifically, just trying to work with him. And I know you worked with him on a film that he directed, and I was just wondering, because he's like he influenced a lot of like pop culture, Japanese pop culture, as of recent times now. So I was just wondering, like, what was your like personal interactions with him, and like how did he either like shape, or like what is it like, what is it like, how is it like working with him,
Yes, he has I know he has certain repetition for being unique person. He's indeed unique, but with me, I felt very, I felt comfortable around him, and he's the one who called me up and said he wanted to direct a movie based on the story that I wrote. So I felt comfortable enough to say whatever I want to say to him. And he's the kind of guy, he's just, he doesn't smile much, and he's picky. So people get scared, I guess, and then people feel like they can't say much to him. But if you say your honest opinion to him, he's the person who would listen to you. And that's what I did. And then I think that's how we made the movie together.
That's awesome.
And for those who I guess don't know, I guess Anno is he did Evangelion, and then Shin Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
That's him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, big time director.
Another question from the audience? Can you talk a little bit about, let's talk a little bit about your writing. I mean, you've written a couple of novellas, and one of course adapted into the film. Are you working on anything else, or where does that impulse to write come from for you? The storytelling. I'm curious.
Well, if you look at my yearbook from my elementary school years, I wrote down saying I wrote down saying I want to be a writer. So I think that was my first passion, but I just happened to be actor first. So in a way, I feel more comfortable behind the camera, writing stories, and it's just so. But I wasn't, again, same thing with my writing and then my acting. I was never properly trained or studied in a school or class. So it's just, but I feel blessed to be, learning and collaborating with great writers and directors and then actors. So that's the best way to learn. I'm keep going to write, and then I sometimes even translate my friend's script, and I just feel great just reading stories and writing stories, and then I want to keep doing it.
So you have two daughters, and I'm curious if you have passed on, if they've seen this film or these films, or what they think about Japanese monster films in general. Are they watching them, or are they?
Yeah, they both watched Gamera actually in the big screen, and then they know about this screening. And when I was going, and my older daughter said she's turning 8 soon, and she said, "So how are they moving the monster?" And I said, "Someone is inside of that suit." She's like, "What?"
So I know that, I mean, for a long time, I don't think Gamera has shown much, but then all of a sudden it's starting to show a little bit here and there. I mean, is that kind of like riding this wave sort of monster movies coming back again? And if so, because you were almost going to you're going to be at a convention or something, right?
Yeah, I did one convention, and then I was invited to another one, and the schedule didn't work out. I think I was always invited to those, but I never went. And then recently I went to the first one, and everybody was like, "Whoa, you showed up." I'm like, yeah, I did. So I think Gamera it's one of those ones. It's, like, oh, you like monster movies, and then have you seen this kind of secret cult movies? But it's well made, and it's one of those things. Gamera used to be, when it was a black and white, it used to be kids. Kind of a cutesy kaiju movie, but when they decided to make Heisei Gamera, they brought this team, Shusuke Kaneko and then Higuchi Shinji, and then the writer he's from Ghost in Shell. You can see if you pay attention, which you did. The writing is, that when they talk about the self-defense army and all these details are not for kids. They're going really detail, and it's a great team. Yeah.
So they were definitely going. This was like the 30th anniversary reboot. This whole series
Back
was
then.
back then, but they were going for an older audience. You think they were trying to redirect it towards?
They
adults
wanted
in
to
a way?
make a kaiju movie that you could watch with parents and kids, and then also parents can enjoy. For this one, but then it gets darker. The second one and third one, it really gets dark, and then the third one, even I would say it's not even for kids. Yeah.
Well, unless we have another question right here. We'll take one more question.
Thanks guys for coming. I just wanted to know from like a creative standpoint, when do you write, and like do you have a process for how you write?
I wish I do. But my husband is a writer. He writes like a proper writer. And then
What is a proper writer? Like he has a schedule. He gets up. He works.
does.
Yes. Okay.
Doesn't he have like a wall of like post-it notes of stuff like that?
he
like,
does. He has
stuff that-
all those things. And then he wakes up, he gets into his like shirts with a, proper shirt, and he sits in front of computer no matter what, and he has different projects, and his organized mind. Especially I did learn, because I wrote short stories and novels, you can be a little messy if it's about novel. This is just my opinion. But for a screenwriter, I do feel like you kind of have to be more like architecture, sort of. You have to have that kind of organized mind, which I struggle a lot. So
I'm curious because in terms of the form, like the screenplay you're writing for an industry. You're writing for, and there has to be hit certain beats. You have to hit, move things along a certain number of pages, and that's the architecture you're talking about. You have to be very mindful of the structure, right?
Yeah, structure, and then it's not only for yourself, and all these things. Yeah. So it's a whole different thing, but I still do it in a messy way, and I struggle in a messier way, and then somehow in the end I'm like, oh, it's. Everything is put together now. So I don't see it coming until the end.
Do you and your husband share your writing back and forth? Do you give each other feedback, and how does that work?
We do give each other feedbacks a lot, but we decided to not to collaborate at all to save our marriage. Yeah. Yeah, we did get in a fight if we sort of try to work together, but we do appreciate each other's feedbacks a lot. It's just so different. I don't know what it is.
Awesome.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Ayako, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
I
you
really
so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.